All right, we live.
Can.
Shalom.
Shalom, shalom. First and foremost, let's give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, by Hashem, Yahweh Shai, by Hashem, Kakwadash. Double honor to the elder apostle, Great Millstone, rule well and teach well. Great Millstone, Dallas Brothers coming at you with another lesson over here, going into another reading lesson in First Maccabees chapter 3, where we left off a few weeks ago, man. But we getting back into it this week. We're going to pick up chapter 4 on Sunday as well, to make up for missed time. But if you brothers didn't have anything else for the intro, we can just hop right into this for the second time,
Khan.
Yeah, brothers. Oh, yeah, go ahead.
This is First Maccabees chapter 3 and verse 1. It
Do you
says,
want to, because you say you had some in which verses? Like 26?
Not in the middle.
Oh, okay. Well, I guess you can start off if you want.
Oh, I was just gonna read for you. Or did you want to read?
I was saying we were going to switch, every 20 verses.
Khan, and you want to read and break it down at the same time on your part?
It doesn't matter. Yeah, I guess.
I mean, it's up to you, bro. I was just gonna read for you. That was all.
So if you say you got,
Huh?
I was gonna say if he's got the scriptures for the I think mid, so if you say 20 something on down, then Guana, I think you had mentioned you probably be first if he can.
Say that again.
You had mentioned that because Iraq has some scriptures from the what'd you say Iraq from like the 20 something to like the 30 something.
Yeah.
So is that the area where you wanted to start reading, or have been read for you, or what?
I was just gonna read for Kawan, and he was gonna break down the beginning. But if he wants to read and break it down, that's cool. I was just offering. You know what I mean?
I got you. Okay.
Oh yeah, you can you can read, bro. It's fine.
Yeah.
No, Slack you. You know what I'm saying? But
No, it's cool.
It's all good, brother.
God, this is First Maccabees chapter 3 and verse 1. It says, "Then his son Judas, called Maccabeus, rose up in his stead, and all his brethren helped him, and so did all they that held with his father, and they fought with cheerfulness the battle of Israel. So gat he his people great honor, and put on the breastplate as a giant, and girt his warlike harness about him, and he made battles, protecting the host with his sword." Verse 4, it says, "In his acts he was as a lion, and like a lion's whelp roaring for his prey. For he pursued the wicked and sought them out, and burnt up those that vexed his people. Wherefore the wicked shrunk for fear before him, or Slakia. Wherefore the wicked shrunk for fear of him, and all the workers of iniquity were troubled, because salvation prospered in his hand."
Yeah, Judas was destroying, says the wicked. All right, but this when you read what we read in the first chapter, you gotta know that Jake was amongst Esau and in his armies too. Because was that Antiochus the fourth. He came through ransack. What we read in was the second chapter. He came through ransack. Son went with him still. So Jake was slaying Edomites in Jake too, man. Okay, Jake was categorized in that wicked as well.
Mm-hmm.
You got it.
God, this is verse 6 again. It says, "Wherefore the wicked shrunk for fear of him, and all the workers of iniquity were troubled, because salvation prospered in his hand." Verse 7, "He grieved also many kings, and made Jacob glad with his acts, and his memorial is blessed forever." Moreover, he went through the cities of Judah, destroying the ungodly out of them and turning away the wrath from Israel.
Yeah,
So
see,
that
destroying destroying the ungodly. It's talking about Jake ass. You destroying wicked niggas too. All
Mm-hmm.
right, putting wicked niggas to death. For turning their back on Yahweh Shem Shah, man. They say he went through the cities of Judah. All right, where was Judah? You know what I'm saying? What was Judah? What people was in Judah? Israelites. All right, so Judah's Maccabees was slaying niggas too, man. Ooh,
Yep.
yeah, the ones that turned their back on Yahweh Shem Shah didn't get away, man. It's gonna be the same thing here. 2/3 of our people that turn their back on Yahweh Shem Shah, they come up scoffing when we at camp preaching. All right, Younger Bros Camp just went through that this past Tuesday. You know, bitches niggas in hoes like that gonna die, man. All right, you come up, you try to overtalk the prophets, man, the men of the Lord, instead of just being quiet and trying to learn. You know, like you should be. You should be humble when you come up to the men of the Lord, because you don't know a fucking thing, man.
Mm-hmm.
Everything you was taught here in Esau's captivity, man, is totally adverse to Yahweh Shem Shah, to whom you call God and Jesus Christ, man. You don't know nothing, so you should shut the fuck up. All right, not excusing my hard language, and listen, man.
Yep.
You want to say something, guys?
No, you got it. You got it.
Kind.
Those are those same spirits that are actually back again today. There's always been a certain portion of Israel, man, that has been contrary, man, has been, as the scripture says, a stiff-necked people, stiff-necked niggas. Okay, and those same spirits are back here today. So we're, literally dealing with the same things, over again. Like I mentioned in the camp, when Paul said, he fought with beasts at Ephesus. We do that every week. When we go out
Mm-hmm.
the hedges and we're dealing with these wicked niggas, jakes that don't want to listen, that don't want to be reproved. So you see, when you go through the history of the scriptures, this is an ongoing theme with our people, right? Continually going off, and then a lot of cases like this, getting fucked up in the process. Excuse or unexcuse my French.
Mm-hmm.
See, you got it.
Baba Gashai, can I read this real quick?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
This is 1 Peter 4:17. It says, "For the time is come that judgment must begin at the house of the Most High.
Mm-hmm.
And if it first begin at us, what shall the end be of them that obey not the gospel of the Most High?" And again, that house of God, or house of Yahweh Bashem Yahushua, is speaking about Israelites, right? Those who have came across the word, those who know that they're Israelites, know about this word, all right, and are just being plain fucking wicked, man. Okay, judgment is going to begin with you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, right? That's why Jeremiah 30:7 likens it to the time of Jacob's trouble.
Mm-hmm.
All right, this is verse 18. It says, "And if the righteous scarcely be saved, where shall the ungodly and the sinner appear?" All right, and the point, that's the point. The righteous, being the elect, right? We're going to be saved. Lord's will, we're a part of that number. We're going to be saved by the hair of our, chinny chin chin, roughly paraphrasing.
Yep.
You know, so how much more so, all these other people who ain't right, they're not gonna make it, man. They're gonna get absolutely slaughtered out here. Y'all got it.
You can continue where you left off.
Con. This is First Maccabees chapter 3 and verse 8, and it says, "Moreover, he went through the cities of Judah, destroying the ungodly out of them, and turning away wrath from Israel, so that he was renowned unto the utmost part of the earth, and he received unto him such as were ready to perish." Then, verse 10, it says, Apollonius gathered the Israelites together and a great host out of Samaria to fight against Israel. Which thing, when Judah perceived, he went forth to meet them, and so he smote him and slew him. Many also fell down slain, but the rest fled. Wherefore Judas took their spoils, and Apollonius' sword also, and therewith he fought all his life long.
Hmm.
Verse 13, it says, Now when Saron, a prince of the army of Syria, heard say that Judas had gathered unto him a multitude and a company of the faithful to go out with him to war, he said, I will get me a name and honor in the kingdom, for I will go fight with Judas and them that are with him, who despise the king's commandment. So
Hmm.
he so he
Go ahead.
made verse 15, it says, So he made him ready to go up, and there went with him a mighty host of the ungodly to help him, and to be avenged of the children of Israel. And when he came near the going up of Betharon, Judas went forth to meet him with a small company, who, when they saw the host coming to meet him, said unto Judas, how shall we be able, being so few, to fight against so great a multitude and so strong, seeing we are ready to faint with fasting all this day? Unto whom Judas answered, It is no hard matter for many to be shut up in the hands of a few. For with the God of heaven it is all one to deliver with a great multitude or a small company.
So they got shook. That small company that was with Judas, they got shook, seeing that great army approach them, man. Because they was only few. You know, but the Lord deals with the few. All right, it goes. That's a very old thing right there. Because the Lord. That's how the Lord built us up. All right, the scriptures say the Lord. He loved us because we were few. Roughly paraphrasing, man. Because Israel was the last nation to be set up. All right, so they was shook. They wasn't being faithful. They was lacking faith. All right, in that moment. But the scriptures say the enemy is gonna come onto us like a flood, man. Okay. So in that time when Esau kicks in the door, runs up in our house or wherever we may be and runs up and tries to take us, okay, we supposed to have faith. We not supposed to act like that small company that was around Judas, but we're supposed to be in that same spirit that Judas is in right here in verse 18, man, and have full faith in Yahweh Shem Shai that we're gonna be delivered. All right. And in this time, made that we supposed to have full faith that when that time comes, that we gonna hey, the Lord gonna endow the men of the Lord with spiritual power, man. And we gonna lift up when the Lord gonna lift us up, all right, through that, and we gonna fight, you know.
I got a precept.
Mm-hmm.
This is and that's beautiful. Because when you go throughout the scriptures, when you go throughout our story, the Lord has done that many a times. This last go around, like the priest said, we're part of that number. It's going to be on a whole different level. All right, but this is Sirach 2:10. Look at the generations of old and see, did ever any trust in the Lord and was confounded, or did any abide in his fear and was forsaken? Or whomever did he despise that called upon him? So you see, like the priest said, this is the right spirit to be in, man. Okay, Judas was in that spirit, and calling on Yahweh Shah, he knew that he was going to have that strength. These armies in these different nations that come up, yeah, they have the right hand is their flesh, but our right hand is the power from heaven, man. Okay, and with that, there is nothing that can stand. But having that faith, being rooted in that faith is key. And there are plenty of instances and examples throughout the scriptures of our great forefathers who've done miraculous things when the time that it was needed, when it all boiled down to having that faith, man, and being stern and calling on the name of Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Akakwadash to come and deliver. And that has not changed. Malachi 3:6, I am the Lord, I change not. So when the days that are coming, us same men are going to be calling on that power, man. Like the priest said, when the enemies come rushing in. All right. So These things are for our learning, as the scripture says. You got it?
Yeah. If I may, that makes me think about when in Second Kings, the sixth chapter. I won't pull it, but because this is actually similar thing happens in Second Kings 6, and then also in Second Chronicles 32. Right, basically, the prophet Elisha was like, there's more that be with us,
And with him.
than be with the heathen. All right,
God,
even if it may look like we're outnumbered on a carnal level. We got to remember Yahweh Shem Shai is one of his titles is the Lord of Spirits. You know,
yep,
we're backed by forces that we can't even see on a physical level. You know what I mean?
God. Same
I'm
instance with Caleb and the name is evading me right now. The Lord had him send and basically spy out the land with the Canaanites in there.
hmm
They came back with that report, that bullshit report.
hmm
you
Yep.
know, I think it was Caleb and who else was it? It's evading me the name. Joshua and Caleb.
Hmm.
Anyway, but that just roughly just make an example or a parable or a parable. Like I said, there are many instances in the scriptures where we had to face this type of adversity, and leaning on Yahweh Shah, we became, we were victorious. All right, so you got it.
Kind of is First Maccabees chapter 3 and verse 18. It says, "Unto whom Judas answered, It is no hard matter for many to be shut up in the hands of a few. And with the God of heaven it is all one to deliver with a great multitude or a small company. For the victory of battle standeth not in the multitude of an host, but strength cometh from heaven."
Mm.
Verse 20, it says, "They come against us in much pride and iniquity to destroy us, and our wives and children, and to spoil us. But we fight for our lives and our laws." And we're at verse 22, so I can keep reading.
I
Uh,
can go ahead and start reading if you got some stuff to go with it.
okay, Con, the water.
Okay, yeah, this is verse 22. Wherefore the Lord himself will overthrow them before our face. And as for you, be ye not afraid of them. Now, as soon as he had left off speaking, he leaped suddenly upon them.
Yep.
Okay, yeah, upon them. And so Suran and his hosts, yeah, and his host was overthrown before him. They pursued them from going from the going down of Bethuron unto the plain, where they slain about 800 men of them, and the residue fled into the land of the Philistines.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep. And if I
funny.
not only okay, because that makes me think you got a lot of guys, a lot of rah rah guys, a lot of guys that talking, a lot of shit, that are
Yeah,
saying a lot of things here on this side, while everything is good, right? Because we haven't even really entered into the straight gate yet. Okay, but there's gonna come a point in time where we're gonna have to stand on everything that we've been preaching,
that's right.
and that's exactly what Judas is doing in those couple of verses. Not only is he encouraging his men, right? Not only is he talking it, but as soon as he got done talking, he's getting to it, you know. And I want to get this precept real quick, and I'm gonna jump back. Uh, let's see. This is a James chapter 2 and verse. Really, you can get a lot of this, but I'm gonna get to the point on this. James chapter 2 and verse 14. Then I'm gonna jump down to 17. It says, "What doth it profit, my brethren, though a man say he have faith and not works? Can faith save him? verse 17, it says, "Even so, faith, if it hath not works, is dead, being alone." So the point is, we use the faith, all right, to get to the works, to the action. They work hand in hand. And there's gonna come a point where we actually, again, it's gonna be all action. You know what I mean? We're gonna actually be in Jacob's trouble. We're gonna actually be in, the fire. For real. You know, we can jump back.
Also, like, okay. You want to take the screen back? For sure.
So it's like it, bro.
So at 24. And they pursued them from going down.
My bad. My bad. My bad.
24 right there. And they pursued them from going down to Besseron, unto the plain where they slain about 800 men of them. The residue fled into the land of the Philistines. Then began the fear of Judas and his brethren, an exceeding great dread to fall upon the nations round about them. Insomuch as his fame came unto the king, and all the nations talked of the battles of Judas.
Yep. Yep. You had a point.
No, I just got
Okay.
Now I was gonna say, it's funny because that Saron that came from what's it, Assyria,
Hmm.
or was it Syria or Assyria?
It was Syria.
I think it was Assyria. It was which one?
It was Syria. No A.
Syria. Got you.
Yeah.
It was that king Saron from Syria. He thought he was gonna run down on Judas and his men and receive that fame, man. Would take Judas in the battle. But the total opposite happened for him, man. The Lord was with Judas and his men. Okay. And they would end up being the triumphant ones in that skirmish. You know, that same spirit Judas was in, to have faith in Yahweh Shemel Shai, no matter what was seen before his eyes, man. Okay, because faith are the things not seen. Okay, what are you to have faith in it if you see it? All right, you got to have faith that Yahweh Shemel Shai is going to deliver you out of a hard situation before it even happens.
right. Right. You have to be fully convinced. You got to be fully
Yep.
convinced. The Spirit's going to be with you. You can't fake this. It's one thing. You can act for so long, but it's going to come down to that point, like the priest said, but you're going to have to show and prove. There ain't going to be no faking. There ain't going to be no brother to lean on to this and that. We all got to have our own Yosemite moment, right? So,
Mm-hmm.
and so much as the fame came unto the king, and all the nations talked of the battles of Judas. Now, when the king Antiochus heard of these things, he was full of indignation. Wherefore he sent and gathered together all the forces of his realm, even a very strong army. He opened also. You got to say something?
Con, I'll add to that. Obviously, when we read the first and second chapter, Antiochus Epiphanes, fourth, all right, who's a descendant of the Seleucid line.
Yep.
When you go into the Diadochi, or the four generals, the primary generals that were still standing, you know, after the splitting up of Alexander's kingdom,
Right.
you know. But this is classic. The reason I wanted to highlight these scriptures is because Antiochus right here this is classic Esau, Edom right here. Just the whole way he handled this situation. We see similar behavior patterns, if you will, taking place today. Extremely carnal, all right, relying on his sword all the damn time, and to the point of fault, you know. You got it. You got it. Yeah.
Con, con. Ah, verse 28. He opened also his treasure and gave his soldiers pay for a year, commanding them that they should be ready whensoever he should need them. Nevertheless, when they saw that the money in his treasure had failed, and that the tributes of the country were small because of the dissension and the plagues which he
Mm.
had brought upon the land, and taking away the laws which had been of old time.
Yep. And that's a heavy point right there. That's a heavy point right there, right? Because we're watching the mismanagement, if you will, of resources right here, right? And
Mm-hmm.
Antiochus is being he's being hasty because he's scared, right? He's being hasty because he's scared of Judas and what's taking place. The spirit of Yahweh Bashim Shai is working with him. So he immediately, whips out, the bank, whips out the wallet, you know what I mean,
Tripping.
and starts paying people, starts gathering together an army.
Yeah.
But in the next verse, it lets you know that the nigga ran out of money.
Yep.
Okay, and what do you see
Nigga
taking
caused
place?
inflation.
Yep, yep. We're witnessing
Nigga,
the same exact thing take place today.
No, God.
You had a
that's
point.
hilarious, bro. Nah, I was just gonna say he paid niggas in advance to be ready for war, bro. Shit backfired on him.
Yep.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
And matter of fact, um, man, Baba Kashah, could you read verse 29 again?
God. 29. Nevertheless, when he saw that the money of his treasures failed, and that the tributes in the country were small, because of the dissension and plague which he had brought upon the land in taking away the laws which had been old time.
Right, and that links up with the previous chapters where it talked about he passed a decree basically to make everybody forsake his laws.
Mhm.
Right, and that's the result of Esau's wine. All right, scriptures talk about that wine.
Yeah.
Okay, which goes into Esau's ideologies and philosophies. Right, the idea that all nations can come together under one banner.
Yep.
Okay, and everything work out. Okay, I'm gonna get this real quick, and then I'm gonna make my point. This is Jeremiah 51:7. It says, "Babylon hath been a golden cup in the Lord's hand, that have made all the earth drunken. The nations have drunk her wine, therefore the nations are mad." All right. So the end result of what Antiochus did, of what Esau is doing right now, is absolute chaos. All right, absolute anarchy and dissension. Right, because verse talks about a dissension among the nations. Right, that also makes me think of what is it, Daniel 2, where it goes in the statue having feet of miry clay.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
All
Yep.
right, miry clay is basically extremely brittle. It breaks apart very easily. And that's what we're seeing today in the form of NATO and the EU. All right, although these nations have covenants with one another, they have all these pacts and deals. Okay, really, they all fucking hate each other. And they can't wait to start snaking each other, and that's what we're gonna see when nations turn on America. All right, you got it, Yaz.
No, beautiful point. Beautiful point. That's characteristic of this damn devil. You know, you can bring it back to my favorite.
Con. Oh, Slacky, my bad, bro.
Okay. Um, started 30, verse 30. And he feared that he should not be able to. He feared that he should not be able to bear the charges any longer, nor to have such gifts to give liberally as he did before. For he had so he had abounded above the king that were before him.
Mm. So, so Esau fumbled the bag.
Yeah.
Esau fumbled the bag. Esau was balling out of control, and in a short manner of time, he spent all the funds that he had. That's the point. You
Yep.
got it.
That's a niggard.
100%.
That's the spirit. That's a precept that I had, Sirach 14. Riches are not comely for a nigger. We don't got to pull it because
Yeah.
that's it right there.
Yep.
You know, you got it.
Wherefore, being greatly perplexed in his mind, he determined to go into Persia, there to take the tributes of the countries and to gather much money.
Man, again, man, this scripture proves too. The scriptures talk about how Esau is continually gathered together for war. I'm gonna grab that real quick in Psalms 140. This is Psalm chapter 140 and verse 2. I have to start at verse 1. It says, "Deliver me, O Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, from the evil man. Preserve me from the violent man, which imagine mischiefs in their heart continually are they gathered together for war." All right.
Mhm.
And this precept right here, this account that we're reading, it shows how war is a way to generate money. Right? War
Yes.
it's a money grab.
Yep.
You know? It's a way to basically exploit, conquer, and then exploit other nations in the form of stealing their natural resources and their people.
Yep.
You know, and then you can and then you can flip that, and those same resources that you steal, you can lend them back on interest. You
Yeah.
know, with stipulations. You know,
Hey man,
so
he's
this is
the ultimate
you got it.
gangster. No, no, Salaki. I was just gonna say that was the ultimate gangster, man.
Yep.
Nice. That's the real nigga right there.
That's the real nigga right there, man. 100%.
Yep. So this scripture is heavy right here because it's just showing you the niggard that Esau Edom is.
Mm-hmm.
You know, completely fumbling the bag. All right, and he's solving his problem by going and causing just more hell on the planet Earth. You know.
And it's a known fact even today. I think that was M. Show uh, Rothschild or Bauer, M. Cho Rothschild, who said, "The time to buy is when blood is running in the streets." Roughly paraphrasing,
Mm-hmm.
same that same characteristic and spirit, that is just passed on from generation to generation within their family line that are here back here today, doing the same shit. Habakkuk 2 and 5. Going throughout all the earth, neither keeping at home. They're warmongers, man. Going to the 13th tribe in that whole book, and you look at how these people were warlike mongers. They were they were warlocks, man. That's that they were destroyers. So nothing has changed. So just
Yeah.
that, to your point, but yeah. So yeah,
God, that links up with Genesis 27, the blessing that Esau received from Isaac.
Yep.
You know, the
Yep.
fatness of the earth and the dew of heaven shall be thy, that dwelling, roughly paraphrasing. And
Yep.
by thy sword shall thou live.
Yep.
Well,
Try right.
that shows that Esau Edom is very. He knows what He knows what he was given. He was given a sword, and he uses it.
Yeah.
You know.
And he took it by force. All that he has was taken by force of the sword, man. All right. So there's the man is being outed. Okay. In this latter time that we're in, there's no mistaking on who Esau Edom, so-called white man, aka the devil and Satan and everything else is. Okay, running around here, man. All right. So Jake's better be hooting, better bend an ear, man, and pay attention and know who your enemy is, man. You got it. We can get back to it.
Con, you got it, brother.
Bring the page back up.
Con. Verse 32.
Yeah. So he left Lysias, a nobleman, and one of the blood royal to oversee the affairs of the king from the river Euphrates unto the borders of Egypt, and to bring up his son Antiochus until he came again.
Right, and that links up with a nepotism. Right,
Right.
that's a word. That's a word that the apostles go into.
Yep.
The beloved brother Micah Allah always touches on that word as well.
Yep.
Right, nepotism, which is basically the idea of promoting somebody of your same lineage. blood royal, which is a bloodline, a royal bloodline, which really that stems back to the scriptures. Really when you get technical, you know, you got it out.
Also, was another word? I think it's scion, Sion. It says a descendant child, especially a descendant of a wealthy aristocrat or influential family, heirs. So yeah, that's what Esau is all about. That's why even today, when you look at the Rothschilds, they intermarry. They keep all their wealth and everything within their family.
Yep.
So this is nothing new under the sun. All right. So it goes on to say, and moreover, he delivered unto him half of the forces and the elephants, and gave him charge over all things that he would have done, and as also concerning them that dwelt in Judah and Jerusalem, to wit, that he should send an army against them to destroy the root out, to destroy the root, Salakia, to destroy and root out the strength of Israel and the remnant of Jerusalem, and to take away the memorial from that place, and that he should place strangers in their quarters and divide their land by lot.
Right, and that's Esau. That's Esau's mo. That's always been his mo from day one. And when I say mo, basically, it's an acronym, means motivation. Right, Esau Edom was set up by Yahweh Shem Shai to basically be that opposing force to everything righteous. All right, to everything sound. And I'm gonna grab a precept real quick, and then we'll jump right back. This is a Psalm, unless one of you brothers had something, of course. This is Psalms chapter 83. Okay, and verse 3, and I'll read verse 4. Man, I kind of got to jump up to verse 2. Psalms 83 and 2, it says, "For lo, thy enemies make a tumult, they that hate thee have lifted up the head. They have taken crafty counsel against thy people and consulted against thy hidden ones." Talking about us, all right? And specifically, the elect, the anointed of Yahweh Shem Shah, those that have the truth. This is verse 4. It says, "They have said, come and let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance." Right? Because as long as we're here on the planet Earth, all right, we're a threat to this power structure, to this world. Because again, we are the vessels that contain the truth and the spirit, of Yahweh Shem Shah, the highest power conceivable. You got it, guys.
I got a precept too, just going into again, once again, showing the characteristics of how there's no new thing under the sun. This is Joel, the 3rd chapter, and I'm going to start at verse 1, 22. "For behold, in those days and in that time, when I shall bring again the captivity of Judah and Jerusalem, and I will gather all the nations and will bring them down into the valley of Jehoshaphat, and will plead with them for my people and for my heritage Israel." So this is a future prophecy. Okay, this is talking about the coming World War III. All right, because the Lord has a bone to pick with these nations, whom they have scattered among the nations and parted my land. Okay, so you see the same thing that we're reading about here in Maccabees, right? It's happened all over again. Okay, they're over there and they parted the Holy Land. Okay, our homeland. All right, between the Arabs and the Amalek, right? Ishmael and Amalek. Okay, so there's no new thing under the sun. All right, so the Lord is going to pay these people back, man. Okay, 10 times fold once He has everyone, all the nations gathered down there. Okay, in the Valley of Decision. Okay, where World War III will break out, and it will be the last war that the world will ever see. All right, but again, going back to the characteristics of these people, right, of the wicked, and these are the things that he does. Okay, this is how you're able. This is a tall tale sign on how you're able to pinpoint or recognize or identify who the wicked is in the scriptures.
God. You jump back.
All right, it says 35, and to wit, that he should send an army against them and destroy and root out the strength of Israel and the remnant of Jerusalem and take away the memorial from that place, and that they should place strangers in their land and divide their land by lot. See, like what we just talked about. All right, because the nations know that there's rulership. Rulership is supposed to issue out, go forth out of Israel, man. Okay, this is one of the main reasons why that devil is over there now, because the nations have an understanding that, you know, rulership is to go forth out of that land, and in the kingdom it will go forth fully in its greatness and in its entirety. All right, so that's always been that sliver land has always been the fought after, most sought after land on the planet, because we know that that's Yahweh, why Yahweh Shah's favorite land. Okay, that was ordained to us. Okay, but we had to go through all of this here stuff just to, just to be able to find ourselves worthy in that day, to be a part of this ministry, right? The heavens goes on to say. So the kings took their half of their forces and remained and departed from Antioch, his royal city. And the 147th year, having passed the river Euphrates, he went through the high countries. And then Lysias chose Ptolemy, the son of Dormes, and Nicanor, and Gorgas, mighty men of the kings and friends. And with them they sent forth thousands of footmen and 7,000 horsemen to go into the land of Judah and destroy it, as the king commanded. So they went forth with all their power and came and pitched at Emmaus, in the plain country.
Yep. No, that's it. And that's verse 40. You got it, bro.
Remember that name, Nicanor. I'm not gonna do any spoilers, but that's a character.
Okay, Nicanor. What?
Nicanor, that's a character, bro. He gonna come up again.
Mm-hmm. You want me to read for you, or Salakia? I think it's on you, yeah.
So went forth into all there and came and fished at Emmaus. The merchants of the countries, hearing the fame of them, took silver and gold and much with them, and the servants, and came into the camp to buy the children of Israel for slaves. A power also Syria and of the land of Philistines joined themselves unto them. So you see, when you go throughout the scriptures, Israel's always been a prey. All right, we've always been merchandise for the nations. All right, because this is going back to when you go into the history of Jake being very wicked. Okay, all right, and doing the things that were contrary to the law, statutes, and commandments. All right, in the image of Yahweh Shah. Okay, so in doing so, one of the most hardest recompenses was being turned into merchandise, basically being slaves. All right. As a matter of fact, brother's got that scripture says, "What nation has not had a hand in Jerusalem?" Roughly paraphrasing. So we know all of the nations on the planet have had a hand. All right. Out of all 18 nations that the Lord created, all 17 of them have had a hand in our captivity, man. Okay, so it's been no new thing under the sun. Okay, so you see these merchants here, the countries hearing of the fame, took silver and gold and very much with them, and servants that came in to buy the children of Israel for slaves. Okay, so it goes on to say, now when Judas and his brethren saw that the miseries were multiplied, and that the forces did come and camp themselves in their borders, they knew how the king had given commandments to destroy the people and utterly abolish them. All right, so we know this was a decree that Antiochus was forwarding. Okay, all throughout our captivity. All right, when you go farther even into the scriptures to talk about how we were, there were laws and decrees that were set forth. Okay, that we couldn't call ourselves Jews anymore. So we lost our heritage. Okay, we lost our identity, as the priest brought up Psalms 83. All right, that Confederate that was brought against us. Okay, so all this was happening though, and given to us of our power because we went off when we were being wicked. Okay, So that's why, again, like I said, the things that are written aforetime are written for our learning. So we look at the things that we've done and look at the outcome of what happened when you go through the scriptures. So we know what not to repeat these things. Okay, it goes on to say, and they said unto one another, "Let us restore the decayed fortune of our people, and let us fight for our people and the sanctuary." And then was the congregation gathered together that might be ready for the battle, and they that might pray and ask mercy and compassion. Right. So again, going back to the scripture I pulled, who is basically roughly paraphrasing, who's prayed to the Lord and was forsaken. All right. So we always understood that there was a power that we call upon. All right, that He would come and deliver us. All right. So when it all came down to it, because even in these times that we're in now, what the Lord essentially wants from us is to lean on Him, man. Point blank, period. To call upon Him. So He sets. We're put in place in all these situations, okay, where we have where our backs are against the wall, okay, where we can't of our own strength um, um, save ourselves. Where in turn we have to pray to Yahweh Yahushua, our power to deliver us, and He's delivered us out of many strongholds. He's destroyed many nations for us. Okay, and we know we come into those times are going to happen again. Enough to me, brother. Technical precepts. No, keep going. And 45. And now Jerusalem lay void as a wilderness, and there was none of her children that went out or went in or out. And the sanctuary also was trodden down, and the aliens kept the stronghold, and the heathen and their habitations and at that place. And the joy was taken from Jacob, and the pipe with the harp ceased. Right. And that reminds me of right, because was that Luke 21. And Luke 21 and 24. It says, "And they shall fall by the edge of the sword and be led away into captivity into all nations." And this is what happened to us. Okay, they shall fall by the edge of the sword, meaning us, Israel, because we were going off. So this was the punishment that the Lord brought onto us. We were led into all nations, and as we read here in the upper, as we went up into the chapter, how all the nations came to take the spoils, and who the spoils we were as slaves. Right? It goes on to say, and fall by the edge of the sword and led away into captivity in all nations, and Jerusalem shall be trodden down of the Gentiles until the time of the Gentiles be fulfilled. See? So, like I said, each and every time that we went off, okay, or we're going off, the Lord sent a nation in to come and get busy, all right, to basically correct us. And in this time, where we were exiled out of our land, okay, and now the heathen are there to this day, trodden down our land. Okay, they've parted it, they've trodden it down. Okay, you have Pink City there that's there now. It's now taken the place where it's now the number one, the gay capital of the world. I'm just going to say it. Okay.
Yeah.
So, again, going back to there's no new thing under the sun. All right. And here, okay, this is 46. Whereas the Israelites assembled themselves together and came to Mashpah over against Jerusalem. For Mashpah was a place where they prayed aforetime in Israel.
So, can I make a quick point real quick, bro?
Sure, you got it.
Yeah, I was gonna make a point about that. That in verse 45 when it mentions that stronghold.
Mm-hmm.
That stronghold is essentially a fortress. Like they mentioned it in the previous chapters. It's basically a citadel or a fortress that they took over and made, and essentially it was on Mount Zion, or where the citadel of the city of David was.
Mm-hmm.
When you read about, when you go into the history of King David coming into the land, there was like a Jebusite fortress, if you will, that was established in the land. This stronghold was like a known strategic location.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted to just read this real quick off Wikipedia, because this is what it goes by. Like when you go into the history,
Mm-hmm.
it's called Accra. And it says the Aqua from ancient Greek. It says with the meaning stronghold was a place in Jerusalem thought to have a fortified compound built by Antiochus Epiphanes, ruler of the Seleucid kingdom, following his sack of the city in 168 BCE. Um, so I just wanted to share that real quick because when you go into the history, it would actually take them quite a long time to actually get all the heathen up out of there, because
Mm,
it was such a well fortified, fortress basically.
mm.
You got it, bro.
Yeah. Wow. This is, 47. Then they fasted, and they fasted that day and put on sackcloth and cast ashes upon their head, like their clothes, right? Because we were mourning it. And laid open the book of the law, where the heathen had sought to paint the likeness of their images. Okay, and we know that also lines up with Job 9:24. Okay, the world was given into the hands of the wicked. He covered the faces of the judges thereof. Iconoclasm. Okay, where the heathen came in and basically, you have to understand, in order for this man to as he did when he came out of during the Renaissance period, iconoclasm that period, he came out and he claims to be the people, of the book and the almighty power. One of the first things he has to go out and do is he has to go and he has to deface the images. Right? He has to put his face up. He cannot have that power, all right, and that influence of deception without painting the likeness of their images. Okay, I got a precept here also in here. This is Wisdom of Solomon 15 and 4. I'll start at, and it says, "For neither did the mischievous inventions of men deceive us, nor an image spotted with diverse colors, and a painter's fruitless labor. For the sight whereof entice fools to lust after it, and so they desire to form a Salakia. And so they desire the form of a dead image that has no breath." Okay, so and this is chiefly what Jake is into today. Okay, because this all comes down to modern Christianity. Okay, so you have a lot of Jakes that always talked about how what difference does it make. I remember my aunt said that one time when I first started coming into the truth. I'll never forget it. And she was kind of pissed off when we were talking about it. She was like, "Well, what difference does it make what color he is?" And that just kind of blew me away because it was like, wow, the heathens understood, okay, the difference. They understood the power that comes along with that influence, that image. Okay, so you see, this is what they went and conspired to do, to make the likenesses, the images, all of the angels, the prophets, all of them, to look like Edomites. All right, again, no new thing under the sun. It says, "And they brought also the priest's garments and the first fruits and the tithes, the Nazarites, and they stirred up who had accomplished their days. Then carried they with a loud voice towards heaven, saying, What shall we do with these? And whither shall we carry them away? For thy sanctuary is trodden down and profane, and thy priests are in heaviness and brought low." Right. Goes on to say, "And lo, the heathen are assembled together against us to destroy us. What things they imagine against us, thou knowest. How shall we be able to stand against them, except thou, O God, be what? Our help." So again, going back to that right hand of Yahweh Yahushua. Okay? When all else fails, which all else will fail, okay, we have to call on the name of Yahweh Bahashim Yahushua for that strength. Okay? Then sounded they with the trumpets and cried with a loud voice. And after this, Judas ordained captains over the people, even captains over thousands, captains over hundreds, captains over fifties, and over tens. But as for as much as were building houses and had betrothed wives and were planting vineyards or were fearful, those he commanded that they should return every man his own house according to the law. So it's like it. So the camp removed and pitched upon the south side of Emmaus. And Judas said, Arm yourselves and be valiant men. See that ye be in readiness against the morning, that ye may fight with these nations that are assembled together against us to destroy us and our sanctuary. Right, keep going back into what we always talk about. One of the first things that the heathens do, they come in and they destroy the sanctuary, temple, okay, which is our connection, which is our line to Yahweh Yahushua. And they know that, okay. So that is a key point and a move that they've always done all throughout history, secular and biblical history. All right, goes on to say, "For it's better for us to die in battle than to behold the calamities of our people and our sanctuary." Right. So this is the spirit, okay, to be in, okay, to rather die for Yahweh Shah and die for the righteousness of this truth, okay, because truth be known, we are already dead here in this world, man. Okay, the only thing that gives us life, only thing that is living here are the few elect men that are out here preaching this word. Everybody else is dead. Okay, so we have no, like Scripture says, we have no continuing sitting, rises apart. This is not our rest here. All right, but goes on to say, nevertheless, as the will of God is in heaven, so let him do. All right. So at the end of the day, the mindset that Judas had is imperative. All right. That's why going into these, into this history, the Maccabees is very, very important. He had a very austere, mindset when it came to doing what needed to be done for the sake of Yahweh Yahushua. See, brother's got anything you want to add to it?
No, Con, you went in, man. The last 20 some odd verses, you went in, bro. That's it.
I got a closing precept if y'all want.
No, you got it.
This is 1 Peter chapter 1 and verse 13. It says, "Wherefore gird up the loins of your mind, be sober, and hope to the end for the grace that is to be brought unto you at the revelation of Yahweh Shai Hamashiach." And that's just building on those last couple of verses. It's the same concept. We've been put in a worst case scenario, if you will, by Yahweh Bashem Yahushua, just to see how we're going to react, just to see how we're going to respond,
Right.
to see who's going to gird up the ones in their mind and just believe, man. That's the scenario that we're in, man. It's really out of our power and it's out of our control. The only thing that we can do, okay, is have faith, man, and
Yep.
move in the spirit of belief.
Yep.
Y'all got it.
Yep. That's it. No, and that's by far the strongest weapon. That's the strongest, most mightiest weapon to have. When you think about it, that's why it's a gift, as the Lord says. It's not given on everybody. Man, faith is a powerful, powerful, extremely powerful tool. Shit, man.
All right.
He left us with the coldest weapon. We just have to use it.
Yep. That's Hebrews 11. Hebrews 11 all day breaks down how faith did all those things, you know, by itself.
Right. So,
Just faith alone.
yep. Yeah. So,
That's all I got.
Whew. Well, y'all brothers didn't have nothing else. Reading lesson is adjourned on First Maccabees, the 3rd chapter. With that, we're gonna give all praise, honor, and glory again to Yahweh, by Hashem, Yahushua, by Hashem Kakodash, the bottom to the elder apostle, great millstone, rule and teach well. Shalom. On to the next one.
Shalom.